Alright, so we're here at Pierce County Airport. We're going to do an IFR flight from here to COTNY, and then COTNY to SCENN, and then SCENN to Tacoma Narrows Airport. We're going to shoot the ILS 17 there, so at this point I can go over here and hit my procedure and select approach. Yes, ILS 17. Yes, we'll do vectors. You could put SCENN in there if you wanted to also. Let's go ahead and put SCENN in there. Enter. Okay, and load. Yes. So IS-1SO, COTNY, SCENN, KTIW. Alright. And at that point we can go to our flight plan, hit that out of there, and then I can range out just a little bit here. And you can see that it takes off from here, goes to COTNY, goes to SCENN, and then we'll shoot our approach. We're going to get vectors on the way over there, so we're not going to actually fly that route. At this point, if you want to load your own IFR approach, you need to come up to Flights, go to Flight Planner, and then enter your destination airport, your departure airport, IFR, go to the route of flight, and then select those same things, COTNY, SCENN, and runway 17, and you just grab on the little line and you can move it physically when you're in the route planner there. And then make sure you put 2,000 feet for your altitude. If you want to shoot other approaches, just get your approach plate out and make sure that you're going to be in the right altitude to start the approach. That's usually the altitude I use. The AI, or whatever you want to call this thing, is ATC is fairly smart, but they just pre-programmed responses. So, all right, cool. So we've got our ATC window up here. Just go to View, Air Traffic Control, click on that. That'll bring the ATC window up. Works pretty well. I'm always impressed with it. Okay, at this point we want to figure out what else we need to do here. We can press Shift 2, and that'll bring up the radio stack here. We can use that easily. 2,000 feet, 700 feet per minute climb. Autopilot is off. That's good. And then if we go to our approach, we're going to see 109.1 is the ILS for Tacoma Narrows, and I want a heading of 167 inbound, and that's already set here on VOR number 1, or nav 1. And then we have our VOR for Seattle on our nav 2, 116.8, and the backup, I put Olympia in here on both of those. It's up to you, it doesn't really matter too much. And then 116.8 is going to come into play when we do our missed approach. If we do the published missed, we'll be headed back to there on a heading of 227 radial, which I have on the bottom because my inbound course to Seattle will be 047. Alright, that all looks good. We don't have a squawk code yet, so this should probably still be VFR. And then we'll come over here. The nav GPS button is on nav. We're going to get vectors. If we had GPS, then we'd have it on GPS. But we're not going direct SCENN, and that's not what we're cleared for as of yet. So Shift 2, that'll get rid of that. And then I want to request an IFR clearance. I usually write down CRAFT, craft, vertically, and that's going to be my clearance. So cleared to Tacoma Narrows Airport. R is the route, as filed, or whatever they tell you. A is altitude, so 2,000 feet. Frequency 126.5, NT transponder 0421, or whatever they tell you for that. So I'm ready to copy that, and here we go. So you need to click on this, and then you just hit 1, or you can click on the actual
delivery. Cessna 53351, IFR to Tacoma, ready to copy. Cessna 53351 is cleared to Tacoma Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 2,000. Departure frequency is 126.5, squawk 5672, clearance void 30 minutes from now.
As filed, Tacoma Narrows, climb maintain 2000, 126.5, squawk 5672, clearance void in 30.
Cessna 53351, cleared to Tacoma Airport as filed. Climb and maintain 2000. Departure is 126.5, squawk 5672. Clearance void 30 minutes from now. Cessna 351, readback is correct.
Okay, and then here we're going to use 126.5, so I can just go ahead and tune onto that. select runway for takeoff. We're going to use 34, and then we're going to depart to the north. So
100 traffic, Cessna 53351, taking off runway 34, departure to the north.
Alright, so both fuel selectors off, trim is set, mixture's rich, flaps are up, squawking 5672 on out, heading indicator is good, we have enough fuel. You do have a checklist up here in aircraft. You can go down to kneeboard and then go to checklist and select that. At this point we're good to roll, and I'd make my call at this point. We already kind of made it, but make my call, make sure nobody's coming either direction. And at this point I would taxi on out. And I don't have a rudder pedal, so my taxi is going to be awful. And then this is notoriously bad. Look all the way down the runway. Bring your power up smoothly. Just try to get it to stop going there if you don't have a rudder pedal, but good luck. Oh my gosh, making you sick, sorry. Alright, looking way down the runway, green, green. Airspeed's coming alive, looking for 65. Get myself back on the end of the runway. Whatever. And rotating. Put my nose right on the top of the trees there. That should give me about a 73 climb rate. And use a little bit of trim here. Trim off the pressure so I don't have to hold it, keep myself going on my heading, and at this point I need to tune in Seattle approach, which I can just flip that over, and I can hit contact Seattle departure.
Cessna 53351 is at 900, climbing 2000. Cessna 53351, Seattle departure, roger, altimeter 2992. Cessna 351, turn left heading 345, resume own navigation, climb and maintain 2,300. Cessna 351, you are 15 miles southeast, turn left heading 335, climb and maintain 2,300. Expect vectors ILS, runway 17, approach. Turn left heading 335, climb and maintain 2,300. Expect vectors ILS, runway 17, approach. Cessna 351.
So I tend to use Autopilot. It's you're practicing IFR, not the controls. You're practicing the thought process in the sim usually. If you want to use this for learning your scan and flying it, feel free to try it. Just don't pick up any bad habits. You can see how much the autopilot's moving the controls. I noticed that most people are going to fly like this, including myself, which is a lot of excess movement and is not what it takes to fly good IFR. So if you're going to fly IFR, it needs to be nice, small, tiny, little bitty inputs, and they need to be in the correct time and sequence, which is hard to do in the sim. So Autopilot's a good way to use it. That'll allow you to do things and think through all the approaches without having to fight through the flying as much.
Cessna 351, descend and maintain 2,000. Descend and maintain 2,000. Cessna 351.
I don't know why they do that. They keep doing that to me though, each time. I would reduce my power here, but in this case I'm just going to leave it up because we're trying to get there. We don't care about the actual the flight. So at this point I need to get my approach brief done. Once I get to 2,000 feet and level off, that's usually when I start thinking about it, depending where I'm at, but I don't want to wait too long for it. I use FLT Plan Go. It's on iPhones. I don't know about the other ones. We're looking for KTIW. I just go down to procedures and I select ILS Localizer 17. View the plate. I can also put the plate on the en route chart and it'll have my little plane on there too, which is pretty crazy. And I just read left to right from the top, starting at the top of the corner. So this plate is expired. I need to get the current plate, so I need to download the database, but in this case I don't care. Tacoma, Washington, ILS or Localizer Runway 17, Tacoma Narrows, TIW. Localizer ITW 109.1, and 109.1 is in the box. I'm going to go ahead and ident it. And normally I couldn't ident that this far away, but in this case I got it, so cool. Approach course will be 167, and that's already set. Runway landing is going to be 5,002 feet. Touchdown zone elevation 294. Airport elevation 295. The notes has nothing that we really care about. It just says Barrow. Get it from McCord if you don't have it for there, and you can still fly the same minimums. And circling is not authorized east of runway 1735. They have Malzar lighting. You can look at down at the airport diagram in the bottom left-hand corner if you want to see where that is. Missed approach, climb 1500, then climbing right turn to 2000 via heading 290, and Seattle Vortac radial 227 to SCENN intersection and hold. So we have 227 on the bottom here on number 1, and we can go ahead and identify this one at that time. And these are both on my plate. It'll show ... dash for Seattle VOR. Alright, and that's done. So both those are identified. And DME is on. We're looking for 11.3 miles from Seattle on the 227 radio would be SCENN. Alright. We're looking at we can descend 2,000 feet, and then from 2,000 we can descend down to 494 for the
Cessna 351. Contact Seattle approach on 120.1. Going to 120.1. Cessna 351. Seattle approach. Cessna 53351 with you. Cessna 53351. Seattle approach. Roger. Altimeter 29992.
And we're good to go down to 494 feet with 1/2 mile viz, which brings me on to the weather for Tacoma Narrows, and I can go ahead and hit both.
Tacoma Airport Information Alpha 2113 Zulu. Wind calm. Speed report greater than 20 miles. Contact Seattle Center on 108.20,000. Temperature 158.55. Beach altimeter 29902. ILS runway 17 in use. Landing and departing runway 17. IFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Alpha.
Okay, so 20,000 feet. They have no clouds. I don't know why we're in IFR at 2,000. And they have 20 miles viz, and we're within 10 miles, so I think they're lying. We'll see when we get there. We can go down to 1/2 mile viz and 494 feet. That'll be 200 feet above the ground. And if you have the altimeter for McCord, they have different minimums, but they are on the chart. So it'd be 519 if we couldn't get a local altimeter, which we did, and it was 2992. I'd set that right there. We're good to go there. And last but not least here is we're going to have our clock on, clear it out. We're looking for 90 knots. It'll be 3 minutes and 20 seconds till we arrive at our missed approach point from the final approach fix, which is 5 nautical miles. That completes the brief for ILS or localizer runway 17 for Tacoma Narrows.
Seattle departure, orbit 126 is climbing through 1,200 for 9,000. Orbit 126, Seattle departure, roger.
At this point,
29992.
they're taking me way up.
Turn right, heading 080, resume on navigation. Climb and maintain 9,000.
They're taking me
right, heading 080, resume on navigation. Climb and maintain 9,000. Orbit 126.
way up into Seattle's airspace, which they'd never really do for real life. They would have brought me over quite a bit further and then up, but whatever. And then also all this background talk is annoying, but that's what you're going to have to learn to deal with in real IFR conditions. So it's good to start to learn to ignore the calls you don't need to listen to and listen to the ones you do. ATC Live, I would suggest. You can go check that out on the internet. You can get an app for your phone. It used to be free. There might still be a free one around there, or just listen to it on your web browser for free. But I like to do that when I was driving. Just be careful you don't get in a car accident. But basically, I'd pick an airplane, and then I would make the calls as they were getting the calls. So I'd pick myself as Orbit 126, and then right heading 080, resume home navigation, climb and maintain 9,000. So I'd make those calls just like I was flying that plane. It can be kind of handy. So we're 2,000 feet here, still good, still on course heading 335. He's going to give us a course turn here. Basically right now we are on the downwind portion of this approach, so we're going downwind basically. He's going to give us a base turn, and then he's going to give us a 45-degree intercept for the final approach fix. Now this line here is still magenta. I want to see a magenta line out here because we are doing vectors to final.
Each November 20586 Seattle approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992.
So now it's given us that, which it wouldn't normally do that. It would just give us a nice line out here, but it'd be vectors to final. So now we have a horseshoe here from the approach ILS 17 to SCENN. So it's looking for that leg of the flight, which is what we wanted to do. And that's good. You minimize that. Put that back. Flight plan will bring it back to the map page. And we're looking good there. Probably looking for a 260 turn here. You see that you got the heading up here on the top of the compass, 333029. So we're probably looking for somewhere near 260. That put us on a pretty good base, and then he'll give us a 200 or so turn the other way for our final one and clear us for the approach. Autopilot's super handy right now. Obviously, it's going to be super helpful until it tries to kill you. So I would suggest flying a lot of your approaches
Orbit 126, climb and maintain flight level
with the autopilot on.
Climb and maintain flight level 190. Orbit
it's good to know what it's going to do in normal situations.
Turn left and heading 260.
So again, like I said, you got to listen for those calls. 260.
126.5. Turn left and heading 260. Cessna 351. Orbit 126. Contact Seattle Center on 128.5.
15 miles from SCENN.
126.
I'm looking at the GPS to find that out.
126.5.
Right there, you can see it up in the corner.
3322.
And then if I want to, I can activate vectors to final again. There's where it gives me the line straight out. It didn't give me that weird cross line that it did last time. That was just a mistake. But basically, it'll put a magenta line straight out. Anytime I run into it, I'm on that final approach course. So that's looking good. And then we can go through our checklist here. So aircraft, kneeboard checklist. Nope, you won't be able to see that. Never mind. Basically, what it's telling me is descent, power as desired, mixture adjust, smooth operation, full rich for idle power. We're under 3,000, so I have full rich. Fuel selector valve is on both. It is, and then before landing, fuel selector valve is on both. Mixture is rich. The landing lights are on. Autopilot is off. And then landing, airspeed 65 to 70, wing flaps as desired. 110 is the first notch. Airspeed 60 to 70 with flaps down. Touchdown main wheels first. Landing roll lower nose gently. Braking minimum required. Okay, so that's good. And we've already ID'd our things. Usually I'd be IDing this one at this point. Or even on the downwind there I would have ID'd it. But I probably wouldn't have got it till somewhere reasonably out on this side of it. And alright, and that's verified off the approach plate. Looks good. Looking for a turn to about 200 here shortly, and my approach clearance. And to know what he's going to do is super handy if you're trying to catch up to the plane. This is the reason I fly IFR on the computer a lot, is that I know when things are going to happen, and I'm thinking ahead, and I'm not behind the plane trying to catch up. Autopilot does help with that, though. So.
Cessna 351, you are 14 miles north, turn left and heading 200, descend and maintain 2000, cleared ILS, runway 17, approach, maintain 2000 until established on the localizer. Contact Tacoma Tower on 118.5. Turn left and heading 200, climb and maintain 2000.
flaps. So I clicked that one I shouldn't have, so now we can go and switch over. I'm going to tune that in now. And I left the frequency I was just on in my backup, and I put my new one in here. Contact the tower.
Cessna 53351 is 14 miles north, inbound ILS, runway 17, approach. Cessna 53351.
Inbound course is going to be 167.
Runway 17, altimeter 2992. Make straight in, runway 17, Cessna 351.
So I did hit approach mode there. Usually I'd want to be closer to the magenta line if there was one. But either way, it's going to come in. So once I see some movement here, I know that it's starting to grab the approach mode probably. Before that, it's kind of your discretion on whether or not you want to push approach mode at that point. Because right now, looking at this autopilot, I'm not on heading mode anymore. I'm just on approach. So it's basically just flying blind right now, maybe? I don't quite trust it. I prefer if it said heading mode here, and then it has approach down here, and then once it grabs it right now, it would now blink off heading mode. But it doesn't do that in this one, so I can't remember if the real one does it that way or not, but that makes me a little leery. So I'm watching that turn right here. I'm going to go ahead and turn my autopilot to a heading of 167, because I'm no longer using it, because it's not in heading mode, and I'm just looking for that intercept to happen here at some point. The line's coming in straight. It needs to be turning towards 167. It is making a little bit of a bank there. Come on. There it is. It's going. So it's slowly working its way over there. It'll shoot through it sometimes using the GPS, but, you know, it has to pick it up in the middle, and then it starts correcting once it's off. Alright, so we are inbound on the approach course. We're looking for the outer marker. Let's go ahead and turn on the marker beacon. If I didn't have a GPS, I definitely want the marker on. At my speed here, I'm still 3 miles out. That's where I want to back my power off. 21-ish should give us the 90 knots. And then I'm also looking for 11.3 miles from SCENN, or from SeaTac, and that's also SCENN, so that'll give me an idea where I'm at if I don't have a GPS. Some people don't even have DME or GPS, which is crazy. So I'm inbound right there, it's looking good. And I really like GPS. I can't imagine flying without it everywhere. Okay, so a little more power here. We're on approach mode. We're looking for the outer marker to come on here. We'll hit our control thing. We'll drop our notch of flaps in. Or our clock will come on. We'll drop our notch of flaps in. And we'll be shooting the approach. If you're going to kill your autopilot to do the approach, I would wait till I had started it. If I kill it right now, I've got to deal with the trim. I've got to get with it set down there and set it all up. Whereas if I wait 100 feet after the descent, it'll be perfect. And I can also tell I'm coming up on SCENN here because I'm on the localizer and it's descending here. Once it reaches centered, it should be pretty close to my outer marker. And the power setting should be probably 19 in real life, but in this case, it'll stay at 21. Once I drop the flaps and start to pitch down, I'm looking for 500 feet per minute descent. Okay, I should be at the outer marker right about now. Zeroed up on my thing. There it is. One notch of flaps, and I started my clock. Make sure you see it start to move. Looking good there.
7351, cleared to land, runway 17.
Let's kill that.
Cleared to land, runway 17.
Wait till the light goes off. And then at this point we can go ahead and kill our autopilot if we wanted to. Now I can turn the marker beacon back on if I want to for the next approach. So at this point I can just go ahead and kill the autopilot, and I don't have to do anything hardly. It's already stabilized. It's already trimmed out for 500 foot per minute descent. It's already on the heading that I want. Anything I do at this point is just going to mess things up. So I'm going to need a little bit more descent here, so I'm going to put in just a little bit of nose down trim. Give it one shot. It's about 600 feet per minute now. I'm still on my heading. I'm a little bit off here, so I might drift just a little bit to this side. Once I see it move just a tiny bit, that's all I'm looking for, is just a tiny bit of change. And then stop that bank. Level it back off. Still going that way just a little bit. Kick it back over. Then keep my descent going. Just need a little bit more, so I might put in just a little bit of pressure forward on the yoke. Be a smidge though. Doesn't take much to mess it up. Hold that for a second. It was pretty close. I messed it up mostly. Then I need to go a little bit to the right, so I'm just going to drift a tiny bit that way. As I come in here, I'm not looking to get too far off. It's going to start to get more and more sensitive as I get down here. Coming up on 500 feet to go. I'm going to pitch down just a little extra here and get myself down a little bit so I can get that needle back up. Bring myself back over to the center. Really keep that scan going fast, because it's going to get tight right in here in the end. Pretty happy right here. I'm just going to hold that. Keep coming. I got 400 feet to go. 300. And make sure you set your visibility and limits a little bit lower. I should have had them at half a mile instead of 3/4. Keep that descent going. I want 500 feet per minute. A little bit off to this side, so now I can fix that. And I got 100 feet to go. I mean, it's getting super thin right now, so I need to push down on my thing there, get myself down to it. There's the enter marker, or middle marker. And there's my 492 looking outside. I don't see the runway. Flaps are cleaning up. Power's coming all the way back up to max here. And I need to declare missed. Runway heading. 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Tower, Cessna 53351 is going missed. Cessna 351. Contact Seattle approach on 120.1. 120.1 for Cessna 351.
Okay, tune Seattle approach. Report missed and get the
Seattle
published
approach,
miss.
Cessna 53351. Flying at Tacoma, ILS, runway 17. Published missed approach. Cessna 53351. Roger. Fly published missed approach. Advise reaching 2000.